Hey everybody, it's Kate, the West Coast Paper Crafter. For those of you who are new to my page, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator on Vancouver Island, Canada. And tonight, it's April 3rd, and this is project number 1 in the Cute as Can Be card class at home. So for the next 3 more. I've got 4 projects. Clearly, speaking is not my strong suit tonight. I have 4 projects to share with you, and I will be sharing them one project every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific time, starting with tonight's project. So let's get started. I'm just going to slightly adjust my camera because it looks like I can come down a little bit, which is great. And we'll go over the measurements for tonight's project. So I am using the Be My Valentine stamp set. There is another stamp set that coordinates perfectly with these papers. I think it's called Meant to Be. And I'm also using the Meant to Be dies. I'm going to just give you a peek in case you don't have them of what comes in this die set. So it's got several different sizes of the honeycomb shape, the hexagon, and it's got shapes to cut out bees, wings. There's some script. This says hive. I actually don't know what this little one says yet, simply because I haven't cut it out. Hey Sharon. And then some flowers and a little heart and another flower, and then there's little antenna as well, and there's a little teardrop shape that I actually don't know what that's for, but I'm sure if I did some searches on the internet, someone has figured it out. Someone smarter than me. Hey, Kathy, you made it. Glad to see you. So I'm going to put these away. And then I'm also using the Cute as Can Be paper. So these 4 projects for the month of April are going to be focused around this paper because it's just too cute. I mean, how could I not? Anyway, so if you don't have the supplies I'm using, that's okay. Use whatever you have in your stash, and I'm sure your projects are going to turn out perfect. Hello, Susan. Hello, Kate. All right, so I'll just flip through. I've chopped into this pack, as you can see, but there's lots of really pretty, colorful designs in this paper. I love the honey pots. I love Old Olive. The flowers are super cute. There's a really pretty striped pattern. And I think one of my favorite patterns are these tiny little bees. And I've actually fussy cut them out before. Anyway, they're cute. Hey, Jackie. Jackie, you got your new ink colors today. Right on. Anyways, I also really like these hearts too. So the paper is super cute. I'm not, full disclosure, I don't love the stamp set. I'm not a huge fan of the bee stamps, but that's just personal preference. So for the projects that I make, I'm going to be fussy cutting bees out of the paper versus stamping them. But you do you. So I did stamp and punch out, well, these are actually die cut. I did stamp and die cut out some of the bees. So I used the bee stamps from the Be My Valentine set, but I used the dies and the Meant to Be dies. And then, I mean, they're fine, they're cute, but I prefer the bees in the paper. So I'm going to fussy cut. Anyway, let's get going. So as you can see, I've already fussy cut out 2 little bees from the paper. And from the Meant to Be dies, I should have left this out because I wanted to show you what I did. So if you have these dies, or if you're thinking about getting these dies, I use the smallest hexagon to cut these shapes out. And what it does is it cuts out the middle piece, but it also cuts out a frame out of just one die. So I'm going to use the black frame and the white hexagon. So you'll be, if you cut everything out, you're just going to be left over with these, you will be left with these 2 extra pieces. So you can just save those and use them in a different project, which may happen yet because I haven't actually designed the rest of the projects for this class. So typical Kate fashion, I want to be more organized, but life and work, it just gets in the way. Hello, Wendy from Kamloops. Nice to see you. So for our measurements, I have got a basic black card base. Now this, I've gone ahead and I've cut down the middle at 4 1/4. So I cut it on the long side, on the 11-inch side at 4 1/4, and then I've just scored it at 5 1/2 on the 11-inch side. I cut a piece of Petunia Pop to 5 1/4 by 4, a piece of basic white for the inside at 5 1/4 by 4, and then the designer series paper from the Cutest Can Be pack that is 3 3/4 by 5. Hello, Tessa. Hey, Janice. What did you forget? I'm not sure. Did you forget it was going live? That's okay. You're just on time. You know what else I forgot, Janice? I forgot to reach out to you. It's been a crazy busy week at work, so I haven't forgotten about you. My time management is definitely lacking this week. So I'm not fully back from spring break, apparently. All right, so I like to start out the projects. Typically, the first project is a fairly simple project that just focuses more on stamp, ink, and paper, but I did bring in some die cuts and some ribbon for this. So the first thing we're going to do is just glue down our patterned paper to the Petunia Pop layer. So you're going to have you will have an 1/8 of an inch border when you mat the pattern paper to your colored cardstock. So I'm just adding a little bit of glue, probably more than I need. And I'm just going to mat this down. And then as soon as I've got it adjusted on that paper so it looks right, I think I need to raise this up. I don't think my hands are in the camera view. Sorry, guys. Hey, Leanne. All right, Janice, yes. I'm trying to keep on with the Thursday lives. I started doing that just in January though, but I think sometimes my family gets a little annoyed with me. Well, not Kai, maybe more my husband. He's outside barbecuing right now, so he's probably going to forget I'm going live. We'll just see. All right, so I've glued this pattern paper down to the Petunia Pop layer. And next, I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon. So I've got some coordinating ribbon. This is Petunia Pop ribbon as well. And I am going to just I'm going to attach just some of this ribbon to the front of the card. I don't need all of it. And I'm going to grab my tear and tape because this is my favorite way to put ribbon on my card fronts. So I'm just taking a little bit of tear and tape. I'm going to stick it on the back side of this layer, about middle, but I've got about 1 inch of tear and tape, so I've got some wiggle room. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just add my tear and tape on the edge, in the middle, or about the middle. And then I'm just going to pull the backing off. Sometimes I will wrap ribbon all the way around my card and tie a bow, but more often than not, I am ribbon conservative. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of eyeball where the middle of my card is, give or take. I'll try to get it in the middle. And because I've given myself about 1 inch of tear and tape, then I can just fold those ribbon ends over the card layer without flipping it around and seeing where I'm at. And that way, in theory, I'll be able to place my ribbon straight in the first go. Hey Debbie, thanks for tuning in. All right, so I've got my ribbon on. Now what I like to do is just reinforce it a little bit by adding just a little more tear and tape to hold that ribbon in place. Where did that edge go? I'm always losing the edge of my tear and tape. There we go. All right, so our card layer looks like so. So now I'm just going to pull the backing off the tear and tape. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this card. Now you can choose to either glue it to your card front or pop it up. Either way, I'm going to glue it because I'm going to pop up my hexagon pieces on the front of the card, as well as my little bees. All right, got my card front here. I'm just going to layer this down, and again, same sort of measurements where it's going to give you about 1/8 of an inch border. Now, because I have tear and tape, I don't have as much wiggle room because the tear and tape's more tacky. So I just want to try to get this exactly where I want it without wiggling it around too much, just because that tear and tape doesn't have as much wiggle room. In fact, tear and tape doesn't have much wiggle room at all. All right, so I've got it where I want it. And now I'm just going to gently press down and let that glue stick to my card front. All right, so like so. Now I will add a little bit of ribbon. I'm just going to tie it in a knot to the left side of the card. I'm just going to tuck it under right now, but I'm going to leave it there, and that's probably one of the last steps I'll do just because I want to make room. Hello, Susan. I hope I'm not missing anybody's comments. If I am, I'm going to go back and I'll check, because sometimes I might miss something, and I don't mean to. So with the white hexagon, I am going to stamp a sentiment, and I am using, again, the Be My Valentine, but you can use any sentiment you want. These are a little bit more love themed, Valentine's-y, I guess, and Valentine's is over, but you may not want to use that kind of sentiment. I'm going to use the sentiment, You'll Always Be the One for Me, because yes, it is a little bit Valentine's-y, but it's also a really sweet sentiment, and I like it. So I think I can use it when it's not for Valentine's. All right, so I'm just going to stamp this right in the middle of that hexagon. I'm using black ink. And I'm going to stamp a little bit more in black, but I just want to kind of figure where I'm going to put my bees. And then I'm going to stamp the little trail, the little flying trail. My camera's too high up, so I'm showing you guys these things, but I'm not in camera view. Oh my goodness. All right, so there's a little, in the stamp set, there's a little trail that I think is supposed to represent your bees. So I'm going to put a little bit of this trail in the top left corner, and the same thing on the back. And one more just over here. All right, get that out of the way. And then now I do have a little bit of black ink on my glass mat. I don't want that to transfer, so I'm just going to take my rag and get rid of that before I get any further, because otherwise I'm going to get ink everywhere. So I do have Petunia Pop. I'm going to stamp a few flowers right on this hexagon piece. And I'll also use the same stamp for that white layer for the inside of the card. All right, one more flower right about here. So this one, you can see that I didn't quite give that enough pressure. So I'm going to go over that with a Stampin' Write marker a little bit later. Sometimes, you can eyeball it and get that photopolymer stamp right over top and re-stamp an image if you get it less than perfect. And it's fairly easy to do because the photopolymer is clear and you can see what you're doing. But the camera's in my way, so I can't get my head right over it. So I'm not going to do that. But I will fill that in, that little imperfection. I'll fill that in with the marker after. All right, so now I'm just going to add a couple of these flowers to the inside piece of the card. And that's all the stamping. I'm going to get that out of the way. Now, I need to add my black frame. So if you caught my live on Monday, you probably know what I'm going to do. I am going to pop this white piece, if I can get my fingers on it, inside the black hexagon frame, and then use my tear and tape to stick that frame. I need my glasses to see what I'm doing. To stick the frame to that hexagon so it all stays together. All right, where's the end of that? I keep losing it. All right, here we go. Okay, so I've just got it lined up. It's fitting in there as it should. And it is a fairly narrow, a fairly narrow little frame, so it's a little bit tricky. I hope I'm not getting my hair in the camera view. All right, let's see. Uh-oh, I smudged. I see exactly. I got Petunia Pop on my thumb. Now we know it's a Kate card. You know it's a Kate card when it comes with a smudge. That's my that's my weakness, getting ink on my fingers and transferring it to my card. I don't even get upset about it anymore. It just is what it is. It's guaranteed to happen. All right. So I can, of course, add some bling to cover up any ink smudges, or I'll leave it, and whoever gets it knows without a doubt that I made it. It's my signature move. All right, all jokes aside, I don't intend to smudge, but I just do, especially with darker colors. All right, so I probably don't need to keep adding, but because I'm going to pop it up, I don't want this frame to come apart, so I will add a little tear and tape on all edges of this hexagon. All right, so there we go. There's my little signature right there, perfect. And this will go right in the middle of the card, over top of that ribbon. And I'm going to use some dimensionals for this piece. So I'm going to put the dimensionals on the bottom, 2 in the bottom and 2 on the top, or at least close to the top. I'm not going to stick the dimensionals on the backing of the tear and tape because I know from experience that it doesn't stick that well. And I'm not putting a dimensional in the middle because I'm going to pop this up right over top of the ribbon. All right, like so. Now I'm going to go in and just give this ribbon a tie. Yeah, you're right, Susan. Gems will help with that. That's why I always have gems handy. Sometimes I need a really big gem since my thumbs are big. All right, so I'm just going to tie a little knot, and then I'm going to trim the edges. I've actually got ribbon scissors finally. I'm trying to be very diligent and not forget that they're ribbon scissors, because one time I actually did cut paper with them and I was a little mad at myself, so I ended up just tying this little ribbon on my scissors. So now I know these are just for ribbon, not for paper. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add our bees wherever you think you want to put them, and maybe 2's not enough. Maybe you want to add 3. And like I said, if you like these chunky little bees that come in the stamp set, then you might want to use those instead. So I'm just going to show you with both types of bees. So if you have the stamp set and you are a fan of the chubby little bees, then go ahead, use those. They're pretty cute. They're just, in my opinion, not as cute as these guys. So that's what I'm going to use. All right, so I'm going to pop these bees up as well. I have mini dimensionals somewhere in my mess, but I couldn't tell you where exactly they are, so I'm just going to use my regular size dimensionals. Now this bee is partially popped up and partially glued, so I've just added a little bit of glue on the bottom of this fussy cut, and a dimensional under the wings. And I'm actually strategically placing this little guy so his heart covers most of that smudge. How clever is that? Wendy, you've done the same for your scissors. Yeah, smart. Otherwise we forget and then we use them for paper. All right. Hello, Judy. Nice to see you. All right, next, this bee, I'm going to put one dimensional on one side and a little bit of glue on the other side. And then this one also gets partially popped up with part of the wings right on that hexagon. All right, here's the front of our card. Now, I didn't bring any bling out for this project, but you could certainly bling it up because I don't know if we ever could wreck a card by adding bling, right? Well, I've wrecked cards by adding too much bling, but a little bit of bling goes a long way. And also, if you have Wink Estella, you could add a little bit of shine to your bees, which maybe I'll do that actually. All right, so now I've just added some glue to the basic white layer, and that is going right inside the card. Because I used a black card base, it definitely does need a layer on the inside so you can write a message. Unless you have some magic pen that writes on top of black, I don't have that. I know, Leanne, strategic placement. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, thank you, Susan. I'm glad you think it's cute. The whole set of paper for Cute as Can Be is very cute. Now, if you tuned in on Monday night, you may recall that my friend Carissa suggested I do a Cute as Can Be class last month, and I told her, heck no, I wasn't going to do that because I don't love the chunky little bees in the stamp set, but I changed my mind because she's not wrong about the paper. It's so cute. So Carissa, this class is for you, friend. All right, project number 1. That is it. Very simple. If you don't have the dies, then just use any shape you like or just cut out a piece of cardstock to stamp your sentiment. That will work just fine as well. And before I flip the camera around, I just wanted to share that the last chance list for Stampin' Up! Has been refreshed as of April 1st. And on that list is one of my favorite little stamp sets that I'm sad to see go, called the Cutest Cows. And it comes with a little punch and the stamps. I have no idea how long this is going to last in the last chance list. I'm going to flip the camera around because it's discounted. So if you like cute little cows, you might want to head on over to the last chance list and grab it before it's gone because it's a really good price. And for those of you who live in Canada and shop with me, if you shop my online store this month, I'm going to send you a private class that I had done about a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago, for this specific stamp set. Now, it's not a class that I had published for free, but because this set's retiring and I think it's one of the cutest sets they've come out with, then I thought, you know what? How can I not share it? So you don't have to buy this set to get the class for free. You just have to be my customer. So I have 2 of the cards that I made for that class. Now, the papers that I used, they're retired. So if you do get the class from me, you'll have to pick your own papers. And this one is my favorite because it's got a little Kit Kat holder in it. So I'm going to post the link for the Last Chance website in the comments of this video. If you're watching on Facebook, you should see it in the comments. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be in the description. So if you do shop the Last Chance store on my website, then I'm going to get a little email notification and then I will know that you've shopped, and then I'm going to reach out to you and send you the link for the Cutest Cows class because it's so adorable. Plus, for those of you who have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator or know what's going on, there's a little sales incentive for the month of April. So if I sell a bunch of stuff, I get a free bag. I love bags, but it just doesn't seem fair to me that if I benefit from selling craft supplies to my friends and my customers, then I feel like you should get something in return. So it works out really well that I can send you an extra card class, plus you also get the card kits for the Cutest Can Be if you're my customer in the month of April. All right, I think that's it. If you have any questions about shopping the last chance sale or how you get the card kits from me if you live in Canada, please send me a message. I wish I could do this for everybody because I know lots of my followers are not from Canada. Unfortunately, that Stampin' Up! Rule is not mine. I would change the rules if I could, or break the rules. Oh, I shouldn't have said that online. Scratch that. I'm not going to break the rules. But anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you make tonight's project, no matter what you use, please show me a picture. Pop it in the comments and let me see what you come up with because I love to see what you guys make. Thanks for tuning in. And I will be back next Thursday with project number 2 for the Cutest Can Be. Plus, I'll be back on Monday with something. I have no idea what. Thanks for tuning in, friends, and I will see you all soon.